Alright guys, Rocky here. Stand by for more.
Rocky here, guys, Tomahawk Farms. Ooh, that sun is bright this morning. Ooh, which is nice though. Good to see it. So, I picked something up over the weekend and wanted to share it with you guys. It's a dump bed. 22 foot of it. I don't know if I need 22 foot of dump bed, but good golly Gertie, it's got a lot of overhang, so I don't know. But anyway, this is it. Drove it home and I just fell in love with this thing. I've been looking at it for probably 2 or 3 years, sitting at a guy's house, and I've told myself 1,000 times driving by it, there ain't no way he's gonna sell that. He won't want to sell it. And I've heard stories of people around here. I think it was my brother stopped and asked a guy one time, had something in his yard, "Hey mister, you want to sell that?" The guy said, "Do you see a for sale sign on it?" "No sir." "All right then." So that was kind of what I was thinking. There ain't no way I'm gonna go up and ask that guy if he wants to sell that, because that's what he's gonna say. "Do you see a for sale sign on that?" So anyway, the other day I drove by there and I thought, I'm just gonna stop and ask him. Well, he wasn't there, so I left a note on his door. Told him who I was, that I was interested in the truck. If he was interested in selling, give me a holler. I stopped, just a shot in the dark. I'll be darned, about an hour later he called me. So the next part, I said, "Hey, before we get into this conversation too much, what do you want for that old truck? Because I have a budget. I'm not willing to spend like a whole lot of money." And he said, "Well, I can't tell you what it's worth, but," he said, "I can tell you what I got in it. That's what I got to have out of it." So I was like, "Okay, hold on." And when he told me, I was shocked. I said, "Okay, well, I'd like to come check it out." And he said, "Yeah, come on by anytime. Just let me know." "Did you already look at the inside of it?" he said. I said, "No, sir. I'm not going to get on your property and go rummaging around looking at your stuff. You're not there." He said, "Well, come on by and look at it." He said, "It's all original." And he said, "As far as I know, everything on it works." I said, "Okay." So I go over there and meet the guy. Super nice guy. Check out the truck. And I am thoroughly impressed. I said, "It's been repainted or what?" And he said, "No. It's got 76,900 miles on it." And he wasn't kidding. Everything works, including the AM radio, fan on the heater. Of course, it don't have AC, but that's okay. All the gauges work. Got good oil pressure. Pedals look like they've never hardly even been used. Still got the floor mats, say International. The boots on the shifters and the emergency brake, still good. The seat, I said, "Well, surely that seat's been recovered." He said, "I don't think so." Glass is all good. Windows roll up and down. Wing glasses work. I'm like, wow, that's kind of impressive. But this thing's got a lot of add-ons. It's got a little hydraulic ram here that holds the bed down. When you push forward on the handle, let the bed down. After it's all the way down, you just push forward a little more. That cylinder comes out and locks the bed down on these locking mechanisms right there on both sides. It's got this ram inside underneath here with a cable on it and a pulley on that end, and then that cable goes out on top of the bed, and you can run that ram out or back or however it works. I haven't looked underneath here to see how it works. I guess it's just the length from right there in that ram to the end of the bed that pulls in, I guess, and lets that cable run out, and then you can hook onto stuff. You can see the cable up there in the middle there. You can hook up to stuff and drag it back in. There's the controls there. And then it's got a little old bitty dovetail back here on the back, which I thought was kind of weird because it's only about 1.5 feet long, 2 foot, not even 2 foot, 1.5 feet long dovetail, which I didn't really see the point of. But anyway, I started it already this morning, drove it down here at the shop, just a few minutes, but that's how she starts and runs. It's just kind of unbelievable. It's a gasser. So anyway, there's the controls for the bed, up and down. I mean, it's an old truck. There, now it's locked. And probably, there's that. So one thing I noticed is when it goes over too far, I think it cams over and then it gets hung up. So then you got to do that, and then I'll probably forget which way to, there we go. So I mean, if it was a dovetail back to here, would be, I think, a little more desirable. But you can't dovetail it back to here with that ram with the cable that pulls stuff up there, because that's somewhere in here back. So I don't know. Like I said, it's an old truck, but I'll tell you, I have quickly fallen in love with this old thing. I love the body style. But these old trucks come with some problems. Brakes. Got hydraulic brakes. Vacuum over hydraulic. If you know anything about that, that's a pain. I drove it home with no brakes on it. Basically, we put brake fluid in it. He thought they'd work, he said. But man, pretty much drove it home with no brakes.